make sure my volume on it is all the way up here too. Yeah. Now, before I play this, I do want to let you all know I am in the state of Oklahoma, and it is legal for us to record phone calls. Just in case there's any question about that, since he did say that he was watching. But I mean, if he doesn't want to come up, there's something I can do, and I can come on up here and explain.
But you guys were saying that she said today that she.
Hold on now. So she says, I'm in the state of Oklahoma, and I'm in a one-party state. Just in case he's listening, I mean, if he doesn't want to come up, there's nothing else I can do. Instead of saying, yes, this was recorded, I'm in a one-party state, and he gave permission. No, that's not what you say at all. What you're saying is, I recorded it, I'm able to because I'm in a one-party state, and since you're not going to come up here, too bad, so sad. And she told Tim she 100% had permission. Now, we know from his text messages, he alleges you absolutely did not have permission to record.
That's what Lindsay's saying here. She told QB she had permission to record him, and he knew they were going over the call on her live stream. And here is the message where he says, hang on, I gotta go to the bottom of my brand stuff. I never gave anyone permission to record me. I never gave anyone permission to record me. Okay, here we go.
Can you pause 1 second?
Yep.
So I'm just looking at the law in Oklahoma so that everybody's clear, because there's a lot of people who just keep saying, well, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Oklahoma's Security of Communications Act provides that it is illegal to record an in-person or telephone communication without consent of at least one party. Now, she's the one party. Or to record a communication with criminal or tortious intent. Illegal recording is a felony. However, things get tricky when one party lives in a one-party state and the other party lives in a two-party consent state. Not to mention when the other party may have even lived abroad, blah, 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 but they don't. To be safe, it's always good practice to obtain consent from all, depending on what you're going to do with it, of course. Most states have enacted laws that are similar to the federal statute, meaning that they generally require the one party to have consent. Now, there is a expectation of privacy. It says, be careful with just using the one-party consent as the reasoning. Consent requirement is based on the physical location of the prospect. It is not solely tied to the area code of their phone number that's registered. Call recorded consent can get even more complicated when you live in one party, and then, I don't know what Tennessee is, it might also be one party, but either way.
Does it go off
I think that's where he was. Or he's from Louisiana, right?
Yeah, but that's what my question is. Would it go off where he resides or where he was located when it was being recorded?
Interesting. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I don't know.
It's the origin, the state that you're recording in. Wait.
Well, but what if because it's saying be careful, you may be in a one party, but if the other person's a two party, what is Louisiana? But if he was standing in Tennessee, then would it still be Louisiana? I don't know.
Okay.
I've never had to think about it because I don't record for
right, exactly.
All right, so here's what she said today on her own channel, I think is where this was from. Okay.
United.
What?
I'm so sorry. It says you may record a conversation or phone call if you are a party to the conversation, if you get permission from one party to the conversation advance. That said, if you record conversations, blah, blah, blah. If you intend to record conversations involving people located in more than one state, you got to play it safe and get consent. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I thought that had a better answer.
There's Luke & Associates, which is an attorney, and it says recording laws in Oklahoma. Oklahoma has specific laws regarding the recording of conversations and communications. It is very important to understand these laws to ensure you are not violating someone else's privacy. Consent requirement. In Oklahoma, it's generally illegal to record a conversation without the consent of all parties involved. This means if you want to record a conversation, you should be obtaining the consent of everybody who will be recorded. One-party consent state. We are a one-party consent state, which means as long as the one party gives consent, it is legal. Exceptions to this. For example, you may be able to record a conversation without consent if you are law enforcement conducting an investigation or have obtained a court order. And there are civil penalties if you had an expectation of privacy. And depending on what their text messages say, and depending on what he was telling her, I mean, this is an active and ongoing investigation of a missing child.
Let me just say that the rule is, if you're in a one-party state and the person you're on the phone with is in a two-party state, and you try to record them, you're still in trouble because it's the toughest law wins. Just like
what Remy was saying that here, regardless, if there is a two-party consent person on the phone with 80 people that are in one party, the two-party consent person wins.
That's interesting. So Tennessee is where he might have been standing. But what is Louisiana? I mean, his phone number is Louisiana.
I don't know. Bieber, why did she edit the video at all? Maybe it's been said. According to her, she edited it with the intent to go over the call with him. But, I mean, that's a little confusing to me when you're just, like, ask some of the same questions. I don't know. That's what she said. Here's the audio that LFT sent.
The UCN, United Cajun Navy, I don't think they have a clue. I think they're making stuff up for clout. Trying to seem important. Quickly, Todd called me right before this live. And he said, I know you're probably recording me again. I said, yeah, so. He said, well, I think you were setting me up the other day. I felt like you were setting me up. I said, I wasn't setting you up. I said, but I do want you to explain what you were talking about, saying the body. He said, well, you got to get it. So he wouldn't answer my question. He called me and then wouldn't answer my question. Okay, weirdo, lose my number, Todd. So I'm not going to be talking about them anymore, except to say that I am considering releasing my calls and texts in full with him. I'm not going to say yet where because the creep is watching.
The creep.
You'll know. I do not have Discord or Patreon or anything like that.
What did he do?
The only reason that I didn't play on him.
All this man decided to do was not come up and do the interview because she mentioned a name, not even the JLR name. That's not the name. She mentioned something they had previously talked about, and he decided, nope, I'm backing out because of it.
He was all nice about it to him, and then all of a sudden he's a creep.
The title too. The
He's
title
a
went
creep and a
from,
weirdo.
yeah, exclusive interview with special guest to shame on you for misleading people. No, what shame on what? He didn't want to get on your live. And then you go into, well, if you don't come up here, I guess I'm going to have to play this. That's blackmail. You're using that for a nefarious reason, ma'am. That's not, you're wrong.
Alrighty, let's see here. Finish this one.
Outside the whole phone call is, and I'm not going to do it now like on my channel, is because I already got a lot of heat over the small amount of information that I had put out there at his request. He was telling me to do that.
He was telling her.
And I already apologized to JLR. We talked about JLR for about 2 minutes in that phone call. And then he himself, of his own volition, brought up Sebastian. And I'm going to pull something up here.
Okay, hang on. Here's another.
That 1 hour and 3 minutes into the live, no, I did not ask him any questions about Sebastian. What he said that I played, he said that on his own volition. No, the call is not spliced or edited in any way. I only played the small portion here. I played more of it over on allegedly recruiting and last night Justin's as well. Lastly, yes, TDI was alerted, and I hope that they have had a good long talk with Todd and the other crew members to find out whatever it is he was talking about in that phone interview. I want nothing more to do with him. This isn't about him. And I think he's done, as far as I'm concerned, in my book, with derailing things. And that is all I have to say about him.
Derailing? Who is she talking to? I'm sorry.
No, and then here is, they said, and just for reference, what she said went on Brittany's panel last night. Well, one of the many things she said, but referring to Todd's call in their
Taken away from
convo.
Sebastian. Yeah, and everything. And some of it, when I talked with him, I talked to him a few times, and, he's, like you said, very confident and believable. When I was talking with him, he was showing me what it looked like receipts, about JLR and all this other stuff, and
She did.
he had me convinced. He was showing me actual stuff that made sense with his story.
If he was showing her that, it was definitely not in text messages.
What?
He sent one screenshot of a post, and I think it was the threat underneath of it that was of importance.
And I originally wanted to hear about the search. That's what I originally
He
wanted
may
to
have.
He started that and then the JLR stuff himself.
I think, and I'm sure that made you very uncomfortable too, because you don't want to be in the middle of all of that.
Yeah, I feel like I ended up being the one set up and then just left there holding the bag,
Oh no.
I was pretty mad. And I ended up having to make a post and apologize to JLR because he clearly lied to me. So another friend got up there and explained, what was going on. I started back with chat and they started telling me the truth. And I was like, oh my God, I felt so stupid.
No, I didn't hear her story today, what it was on QB's.
Well, we also don't know
What a snake.
and we don't know what was said prior to that JLR pick. That's just
True.
the first part that was,
okay.
She was-
so she said they texted forever, so I don't know.
She was all in about JLR was a douche. Isn't that what she called him? And then I had to go apologize to JLR.
Yeah.
Yep.
She said, oh, what a snake.
So
And just so that
first-
if there's new people here, just in case, because I think some people are like, no, I don't think he was ever going to go up. We do have some messages between the two of them, and he was going to go up, but then he decided not to.
That's to show you guys that I am reading from their messages that he sent. I don't think this was actually no. So the one here I'm reading, he says to her, "Let's talk tomorrow." She says, "Sounds good. Thanks. Have a good evening." Then he sends a picture of it's JLR's stream, but what I think he's drawing attention to is it says underneath of it, "Scam alert. The founder of Cajun Navy 2016 made the news after being arrested for defrauding an elderly man. Google Cajun Navy 2016 arrest and read the news article."
So pause. That part is JLR getting it wrong, right?
Right.
So Todd, I think, realizes that, and then JLR realizes it as well, and comes out with stuff on the United Cajun Navy after that. So it looked to me like, yeah, he's showing her, and then she calls him names after that. JLR, but she said that they didn't do that.
She says, not him, she says, he's such a douche. I'm sorry he got this so wrong. And then I gotta go back to the other thread, and that's because that one was before. Hang on. So then I don't know what he says after that. She says, "LOL, I will. I'll include that in the video or save it for you if you come interview and put it in the trailer video. It's always a pleasure to expose people like JLR. Where can I get a photo of you?" He says, "Todd Terrell, Facebook, United Cajun Navy." She says, "Thank you." She says, "Hello, Todd. How are you today? I found a whole bunch of those Cajun Navy people. Slimy, vindictive, indeed. Why can't people research before putting out info? I'm glad we spoke, and I'm looking forward to putting out the truth and defending your great group." Hang on, I gotta scroll over. "Can you give me a call whenever you're free?" Saturday at 1:32, she says, "Talking with another channel." This is a question I have. Why didn't the other channel come up? Like, that original screenshot was supposed to be, or the screenshot you sent me of the original thumbnail and title. Wasn't there supposed to be another creator with her? I don't know. Anyway, "Talking with another channel who supports you. We're wondering if you'd be available for a short interview or another phone call tonight. I have everything ready and I'm open on times. Did you check out my little corner of YouTube?" He replies an hour later at 2:21 and says, "Yes, 6-ish. And then Saturday, she says, okay, see you then, thanks. Saturday at 5:35, she sends a StreamYard link, and then she says, if you're able to come a little before 7 p.m., it would be great, thanks. At 6:53 his time, he says, thanks, but no thanks. I will be listening to what you say from here. You mentioned a name we are not and do not want to be associated with. I asked you before if it was only going to be about Cajun Navy stuff. She said, your time was to be only about you guys. I'm sorry for any misunderstanding. Thank you for your time. And hang on. He says, this is about what our organization does, is, and stands for. Y'all continuing to bring up YouTubers and media people that no one wants around except for drama is not something we want to be associated with. You mentioned JRL or JLR or whatever his name is. Shame on you. And then she said, I gotta go down to the other one. Hang on. Let me throw up my peen screen. Not making that mistake twice. Hello? Penis. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, it was a badge, but still. Okay, so I'm almost 30. He said, shame on you. She says, you and I discussed him. You didn't tell me I couldn't mention him. Not that, remember, she said he asked her. They discussed that they were going to talk about him. And she says, here, you didn't tell me I couldn't mention him while we talked. I told you I wanted to just clear up misinformation about you guys, who you are, and the great things you do. I'll be discussing him only to defend you guys and clear up the misinformation he put out. Best wishes. Thanks for all you do. And he replied, I told you only about what UCN and CN does. I mentioned, and it's this guy's name, you were going to blindside me. The more attention those guys get, the more damage they'll do to all searches. Our supporters don't like drama. And she says, I understand he wants attention and I'm not giving him that. And then Todd says, sorry for the confusion. You mentioned his name and that's attention. Happy Easter. She says, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. Keep doing good. God bless you. I totally understand how you feel. And he said, besides, it's Easter Saturday, 7 p.m. Most people are with their loved ones or kids. And that's all that I have.
Yeah, you can clearly see he doesn't want this drama part of any of it. And that's where she was going. And he's like, thanks, no thanks. I don't want to do this.